within legal framework also. The law enforcement organs, even since the proclamation didn't clarify who is the trafficker. It's not clear even for law enforcement agencies. They are not clear because in a recruitment of human trafficking, the families are involved, the friends are relatives, neighbors are involved, and the rural recruiters at village level are involved, the traffickers, the PAs are involved. But who are the traffickers really? It's not clear. Can we say the families, the peer groups, the friends who are participating in this process, are they trafficker or not? Are they criminal or not? It's not clear. Because of that, really, no one wants to expose a trafficker in a public. They don't want to expose. They don't want to give their testimonies, or they don't want to testify before court. So even the serious problem is no one see human trafficking as a crime. That's the problem. Because human trafficking is highly socially embedded issue. So because of that,
sorry, excuse me, may I ask you to end your discussion, because I would like to go to the next opponent.
Thanks.
So, okay. If not, then the examination shall be continued by your promoter, Professor Hostel.
Mr. Kentlet, your research focuses on a tremendously important topic, and it affects many, many lives. I would like to ask you two questions predominantly. One is, if your research would not have focused on those that have returned, that are kind of free of reprisal, do you think there would have been ways to also get information in another context from those that are still affected and are in the middle of that situation? So in other words, those that have not returned yet, but those that are still in these very vulnerable positions. Is there a way? Could you think about ways that that information could actually be collected? And the second follow-up is, how about collaboration with United Nations offices and agencies, like the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, that is tremendously active, also in the Ethiopian context? Can you tell us something about the alignment of, let's say, the local legal activities with the activities and aims and goals of such an agency?
May I ask you for a brief answer, please?
Thank you. Highly learned member of committees. I think if I got your question, the first question is about how I have collected the information, the data.
It is actually, can you think about collecting the data also for those that have not returned yet? Could you see a way that that could be done?
Well, I have collected data in a different research procedures. I have used the qualitative and the quantitative approach. The methods I have used is interview and focus group discussion, and then the questionnaire also for about 273 sample size, and also field observation summary notes, and examining the existing legal framework is also another source. So, well, using the questionnaire, I have tried to reach 273 informants, and by using that is very important because it helps me to gather informations, evidences from a large number of sampling size, In this case, of course, questionnaire is very important for the issues of privacy and also the issues of confidentiality. And it helps me to understand about the issues, fully understand about the women trafficking. And also I've used focus group discussion and also interview. So by diversifying this source of information, I have tried to collect the informations and try to analyze based on these sources, especially particularly for questions. I've tried based on data analysis. I have used IPSS software, and for the remaining focus group discussion and interview, I have used content analysis. Based on this, I have tried to collect the data and tried to analyze my thesis. As far as the issues of the alignments of the United Nations, in collaboration with specific to my study area, well, Ethiopia is one of the signatories. Ethiopia is the one who ratified, this convention and obliged to implement these legal frameworks. So, well, as I have said earlier, the commitment at federal level is so good. I couldn't see as such serious problem, despite all these minor problems. But the problem is not only Ethiopia, even the remaining countries, at international level, they sign any treaties, agreements, but the implementation is totally different. That is a problem. And this is what I could have seen here in Ethiopia, especially at a local level, specific to my study area, RC. Well, the collaboration and the alignment is not as such a serious problem. Ethiopia is working with the United Nations, but the implementation is still very serious at local level. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Then the examination shall be continued by Professor Dietz.
Mr. Candidate, in your study, you also interviewed and studied the traffickers themselves. That must have been extremely difficult as a methodology and also as a personal experience. Can you tell us how these traffickers saw themselves, what their economic and social careers have been so far? Do they see themselves as businessmen and businesswomen? Do they regard their income from trafficking as a starting capital for other business ventures? How do they themselves defend their actions in light of their religious backgrounds and beliefs? And does it give them status in their own community? Please share with us your insights in these matters.
Thank you very much, highly learned opponents. During my research, it's really too tough and very difficult to get the traffickers, especially the traffickers. It's very, very tough. Of course, the returnees, they don't have a serious problem to tell you what happened to them and what's happening. They don't have after they return it. But the traffickers, to find the traffickers is very, very, very tough. Because, they are invisible. Invisibly, they are networked. Some, they know each other, but the remaining, they don't know who the trafficker is, even those parties who are involved in this process. But in this issue, most of the time, when the problem happens, the local...
Hora est.
Mr. Candidate, the time allotted to the examination of your dissertation and its propositions has passed. The committee withdraws in order to deliberate, and we request that you await our return. Ja. Kandidaat weg. Dr. Aquino-Diade is verdwenen inmiddels, begrijp ik dat ook?
Completed the duty assigned to me, I may be the first to address you as doctor and congratulate you on the award of the dignity you have obtained. This honorable distinction is a well-deserved and highly valued privilege. At the same time, you are called upon never to lose sight of the obligations it imposes on you in the name of science and society. Dear Dr. Lemma, this is a great and much anticipated day. You have obtained your doctorate in the social sciences with an original and important study. You thereby fulfill the long-standing personal wish to both understand more about a major social problem affecting your country, Ethiopia, as well as to personally advance in the world of learning. You have achieved both, and I really commend you for that. During part of this dissertation journey, started slightly over 3 years ago, you had an important public function in Ethiopia, and thus you worked overtime on the research project with great motivation and perseverance. You have completed it well, and we promoters, Professor Martin Hosley and me, are proud also because next to having yielded new data on a major region, Arsi, of irregular migration and trafficking of women, it is the first full-length written product of a wider project in which we are involved, combining academic and applied work on political administrative change in Ethiopia. I hope this study, which you just now enthusiastically defended, will make its contribution to better policy measure in Ethiopia, as well as mobilize public and research attention to the issue of female irregular migration, its complex underlying roots and its ramifications. As you rightly stressed in your thesis, not all women are involuntarily traded or trafficked from the start. There is often a thin line between being a passive victim driven by a certain despair to earn money somewhere or anywhere, and being a more active agent seeking opportunities abroad, but nevertheless still getting entangled in involuntary work contracts and webs of abuse. In this respect, the biographies of women, which you included in the thesis,